Hey there everyone! As you're well aware by now, Nintendo has finally revealed details about its new system, formerly the NX and now the Switch. And I just wanted to talk a bit about my thoughts on some of those details, plus my hopes for what the system will offer day one and beyond. To begin, I actually like the name Switch. I'll admit that NX was a good name, and it'll be hard to shake, but Switch is kinda catchy, and it's easy to make jokes about it, which means people will soon have the name burned into their minds, which is perfect advertising. Personally, I'm just glad they didn't call it the Wii Us or the Wii Tendo or something worse. The logo is kind of the same. It's a simple design that's easy to recognize and remember, although like I said on Twitter, it kind of makes me want Domino's pizza. Whether that's a plus or a minus is subjective, I suppose. Now on to the system itself, and I gotta say, I love the look. The simple and effective design of the name and logo carries over into the system and controller, or is it controllers? Anyway, it's a sleek and elegant look that gives it a serious tone at first sight, and isn't overly showy or complicated. I've seen edits that mimic interchangeable faceplates for the docking station and controllers, which I hope Nintendo ends up doing, particularly a wood grain design that I fell in love with. Let's move on to the controller, and honestly, this is probably where I'm having the most trouble. From what we saw of the quote-unquote Joy-Cons, I assume they'll be the pack-in controllers with the docking grip to form one complete controller. Altogether, it's a decent enough design, but the lack of a D-pad does bug me as a retro gamer. I also think they're a bit on the small side when used sideways for multiplayer, especially since I have big hands. And you know what they say about guys with big hands. There's an easy solution to these issues, which I hope to hear about at some point. Sell different Joy-Cons. A D-pad model, or maybe a GameCube layout would definitely sell. Imagine not only custom colors, but custom controller layouts for an awesome level of customization. I see a lot of possibilities there. We also see in a video a second complete controller that didn't seem to separate, so that'll most likely be the new Pro Controller, but I'm hoping the Wii U Pro Controller will be compatible since I do like that one. Probably the next big deal is the fact that we'll be using cartridges, which I'm excited to see with regards to load times and audio quality, but other than that, it doesn't really matter to me one way or the other. Performance is key, and if a cartridge can deliver everything a disc can, I see no reason to prefer one over the other. The last two things I'll talk about are both concerns, but kind of minor ones to me. First is the price point. I totally expect the Switch to come out at around $300, which is a very decent price. $350 is still acceptable, but anything over that will feel a bit excessive for Nintendo, although with the right pack-ins, even that won't feel too high. Finally is the battery life. I know they're pushing the concept of this being an on-the-go system, but there's a difference between portable and handheld. Tablets, phones, and gaming systems like the 3DS and Vita are handhelds, and as such have very long battery lives to aid that function. Portable just means it can be used on the go, but that's not its most ideal use. While the Switch looks like a tablet, I expect it'll function more like a laptop, meaning that away from a power source, it can only be expected to have 3 to 4 hours tops. It is after all a full-blown game system. That's all I'll get into right now. If you'll notice, I didn't talk about the games we saw or the third-party support. At this point, the games we saw could easily be tech demos and not accurately representative of what's to come. And while we've seen an impressive list of third parties on board, I'll still be proceeding with caution as to how involved they'll all be. I'll be honest though, when I think about what some of those names can bring to the Switch, I get a little weak in the knees. Overall, I'm extremely excited for the Nintendo Switch based on what we've seen, enough to be expecting a day one purchase. I'm also still very aware that there are some important things we don't know yet, like system and game prices, launch titles, and storage capacity. I doubt we'll hear anything that amounts to a deal breaker though, so I'm confident in saying that the Nintendo Switch is in my future. Let me know in the comments if it's also in yours, if it's definitely not, or if you're still just not quite there yet. I'd like to thank you all for listening to my thoughts on this amazing looking new system. Again, feel free to comment about how you feel about the Switch, whether or not you're sold on it yet, and what you'd love to see from it both day one and in the days and years to come. Thank you very much and have a great day.